Now we are ready. So, dear colleagues, yes, my greetings, and of course, you know that today we have our usual event, so evening event, and a little bit unusual topic. And you know, it's connected with dynamics of positive psychotherapy in such issues like grief, death, and mourning. And of course, now the world situation is required from us to be well prepared, not only for work with these topics, and also to accept these topics in our lives, to see the positive of these events, and to have an inner wisdom and kind of maturity, and of course of professional skills to work with these topics. And also I would like to say thank you to all of you who are ready to go deeper for this area, to find out some main essence of tools to how to work with these topics, how to touch these topics, and of course how to be well prepared for this. And it so happened that today is the funeral of our colleague Katerina Kadetova. Maybe you have seen the message from VAP about her death. And of course, maybe you know, she was the head of our center, educational center in Riga, Latvia. And she dedicated more than 20 years to development of positive psychotherapy. Maybe it's a half of her life. And during this occasion, I would like to suggest to honor Katerina, honor her memory, and dedicate a minute of silence, if you don't mind. Mm. Thank you. Thank you, dear colleagues. I hope we all of you feel this unity in these minutes, and to go deeper to your soul and feel the something that can unite all of us. So, and I hope we also can dedicate this event to Katerina's memory. And I would like to introduce our speaker today. It's John Okoro, you very well-known psychotherapist, trainer of positive psychotherapy, and very good experience in this topic, because I know that you also have experience to be a military chaplain and experience to be a Catholic bishop. So you have a specific competence to touch this issue, to talk about death, about grief, mourning, loss. So thank you that you agreed to be together with us today and pay attention for all of us to this area. So please, the floor is yours.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Katarina, for your wise and touching introduction. Myself, I have had a lot of experiences with death. My mother died as I was 3 years old. Then there was war between Biafra and Nigeria, 1967 to 70, and I was forced to go to the army to serve as a military, and I was my job was more or less intelligent observer. In this war, it lasts for 3 years, and about 1 million people died. So when I became a priest, I'm about 48 years old as a priest. I have buried more than 1,000 persons in there when they died, children, young people, old people, and different cultures. And I have attended many burial ceremonies of different religions, Baha'i, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu, and the rest of them. I've attended so many burial ceremonies. And I have written a lot of books on this topic. My doctorate work was about death, attitude towards death. So what I'm trying to give you this evening is something that we all experience one way or the other. And I would like us to actually see it this way. Unfortunately, before I normally talk about this topic, I do some psychological clearance, but I will give you this slide so that you assess yourself about your attitude towards death. But this slide I will not give today, but I will send it to Katarina, and if you like it, you just receive it from her, and you assess yourself about your own attitude towards death. So what I'm going to give this evening is something that will help us in the therapy, that will help us in coping with death, grief, and mourning. So it is transcultural, as I said. It's something that affects all people worldwide. So, Catherine, can we start with the slides,
Yes,
please?
yes, I will switch the presentation right now. Can you see?
Do you see the slides? I don't want to talk about the crisis, or trauma, what people get when they have a loss. But what we know, according to Holmes, is that the death of a child causes a lot of crisis. Um, I'm blocked. The slides are blocked. I can't see the slides myself. Who blocked it? Excuse me. Somebody blocked the slides. Okay, thank you. Worldwide, if a child dies, it causes a lot of pains, and it's something that affects all of us, and it takes a lot of long time of grief and mourning. Also, the death of a spouse, separation, marriage disputes, imprisonment, death in the family. This is just an assessment of about 5,000 persons. What causes crisis in their lives, or what causes a conflict, or what causes a type of trauma. This is the analysis they gave. Please, may we continue? The next slide, please. Number 10, yes. Then other things that causes a lot of crisis is new relationship, birth of a baby, new job, change of abode, death of a friend, misunderstanding the marriage, bank credits. Continue, please. May you continue the slides, please. New responsibility, separation from own child, confrontation with norms, extraordinary achievement, feasts, holidays, menstruation of women. Continue, please. Okay. No, before this, there's a slide before this, before death and dying. May you go down? There's a slide. Yes. The next, go down a little bit. May you go down a little bit? This is the words, yeah. So, but this is, according to Holmes, what can cause crisis. And this crisis does not actually, in this category he gave, it's not something that you take that way. For one person, it may be more traumatic. For the other person, no. So, but he assessed this, all these things I gave to you, I said before, according to the way, he got his answers. Now, what is death? Death is defined as a total extinction of all lifestyle systems in human body, and also an irreversible standstill in all life-giving procedures. But as death is something that once it happens, there's a lot of changes in our systems, changes in our human behavior, and the rest of it. May we continue, please? The next slide. No, I think it's moving faster. That's a slide. Yes, the next slide. No.
It's not. Yes, it's
Okay.
now the next. It was previous.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the next. Okay, the next. Okay, the
And the
next one.
next.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
My dear friends, how do human beings worldwide see death? How do they experience death? If you have traveled a lot of places and you get information about how people define death or how they see death, Some see death as going home. Home is something that everybody has its own definition of home. Some see death as experiencing a sense of freedom. For example, if somebody had a long, terrible disease, and if that person dies, he sees death as experiences a sense of freedom. Death as type of departure or send-off. Some people worldwide see death as a departure, as a send-off. Somebody departs his livelihood. Death as a pain bringer. Most people see death as pain bringer. That means if one dies that you love, that is near you, it pains. And they see pain as death as a pain bringer. Some see death as pain healer. If somebody has a terrible illness and the person suffers a lot of pains, and if the person dies, they see it as a pain healer. Or somebody is released, relieved from his pains. Some people see death as crossing over the mountains. It's an expression that you hear mostly in Europe, where you have a lot of mountains, and they see that you go to the other side of life, other side of place. Some people see death as meeting God face to face. Some religious people see death that way. May we continue, please? Death as a source of hope. There are some people after they have lived a life of, I will call it tragedy. They have a lot of mishappenings and no successes. When they die, they see it as a source of hope that that side of life will be better. Some see death as initiator of sadness and sorrow. This is very, very common to many people worldwide. If one dies, you have sadness, you have sorrow, and it carries, you have a lot of emotional disturbances. Some see death as falling asleep. Some people have, if you have a lot of people, when they go to sleep, they die off. They see death as falling asleep. One sleeps and the person is gone. Some see death as a transition. Transition is something that we all have. We think that we are living now. When we die, we come to another stage of life. Or when we die, we move to another bigger dimension of life. Some see death as division or separation. It is something that is very common transculturally. If one dies, there is a separation. The person is separated from you, and there's no more coming back. Some see death as transformation. This is something that is very developmental. Stages of death. People, when they die, they think that there's a lot of transformation, there's changes in life. People see death as a place of rest, where you rest without difficulties, without any type of disappointments and the rest of it. Where you move away from the stress situation of life. Next one, please. Death as meeting again. Many people worldwide believe when I die, I meet all those friends, my parents, brothers and sisters who have died before me. They believe we meet again when you die. Death as going in peace. It's a very common thinking. Spiritual people think that when they die, they're going in peace. Moreover, some people who die after a lot of painful situation, and if they can reconcile with one another before they die off, they see death as going in peace. Death as a sign of my love. There are a lot of religious people who die. If they love God or love, their principles, ideologies, and sort of as such, they see death as a sign of love. I give my life because of that, and this and that I love. Death as a true relationship is also what people believe. I have buried a lot of people who think that way. If the husband dies, then the wife dies quickly. They see it as a true relationship. Some of them die within 1 week. I will follow my husband, or I will follow my wife, or I follow my child, and so on and so forth. Death as reconciliation is also a way of seeing death. In this case, it's also a very spiritual notion of death. People try to reconcile with one another, with enemies, and with people who hate me, and so on and so forth. Before I die, reconcile. That's a reconciliation. They see it as something that bring people together. Okay, the next one, please. Now, this is something that is very positive psychotherapy. For example, if you are trying to, if somebody comes to you for counseling, and the balance system is very important, I can use it in trying to begin the discussion. Sometimes it's not very important. It's not very important for you to go deeply into the problem of death, but you can just begin. For example, what did you experience bodily when somebody dies? How do you in many cultures, in many transcultural systems, there are things that are very common. For example, crying. There are a lot of people who don't cry when somebody dies, but after some years, they start crying. Crying comes up. But there are some people who cry immediately when somebody dies. But crying is something that is very, very widespread in all cultures. So normally if they come to me in the therapy, I ask them, when your son died, when your husband died, or your wife died, or your friend died, did you cry, for example? Some people say, no, I didn't cry. But after some months, some weeks, some years, I started crying. There are people, some cultures, if somebody dies, they cut their hairs. It's a type of solidarity to show signs of respect, signs of devotion. They cut their hairs. In my culture, it is something that is very common. If my father dies or my mother dies and so on, we do normally cut our hairs. So many cultures, before they bury the person, kissing of the body is very common. Some embrace the dead person. Washing of the cups is something that's also very common nowadays in many modern countries. The families don't wash the body anymore. They give the work to a burial institution. But it is something that is very therapeutic. If before one is buried, the relationship touch the body of the person, it helps. It helps actually in the, I will call it, help the person to overcome the pains of death. What pains a lot is if somebody dies, you didn't see the body, you didn't see anything, it can cause a lot of pains in your heart. In some cultures, you have dresses, mourning dresses. People wear black or they wear colored dresses for about a month or 1 year or 2 years. Once you see this clothing, you understand quickly this person has died or the person is mourning. So clothing is something also a sign of saying, no, I will not like now to start doing something. I'm still in the mourning period. It is very essential in many cultures. If somebody dies, they eat together. Eating together is very, very important. Because through this eating together, you talk more about the dead person. You talk more about his situation, about his connectedness, about his life. Nowadays, many Europeans don't do it. And in my therapy, I tell them it is very, very important to eat together after burial, because it gives us a sense of togetherness. Okay, next slide, please. It's not common to this world, blood rituals. Many aborigines, many people from primitive, we call it primitive people, from different continents, Australia, US, Africa, and so on. These people that they don't wear clothes, they don't wear any type of, they don't have any type of belongings. They live in bush, no, these people, they have blood rituals. Blood ritual means they are connected to one another. In some cultures, you have erotic experience. Erotic experience means they say life must go on. Life must go on. And it means that when somebody is buried, within 3 days, within 4 days, or 5 days, or 1 month, people should try to be pregnant and give birth to a new child. So they see it as something that is very compulsory after death. There are also purification rituals, bodily. Some people, they don't eat. Some people, they don't, have sexual contacts for 40 days or 47 days, or sometimes for 2 or 3 months. Some people don't, receive guests. No, they don't receive friends. So there is a lot of rituals that they have. Exchange of power of endurance is something that also we experience bodily. We try to console ourselves. We stay together. We think together, and so on and so forth. We help one another. It's an exchange of power of endurance. The next slide, please. In the achievement area, this is for all therapies. It is important when you want to begin a therapy, you begin in this achievement area because it's something that is very easy before you talk other parts of the balance system. But if you want to start a conversation, because conversation is what heals. If the person can talk about his or her situation, it heals. So in this area, it is where you start off, because in this area, there are no type of personal discussion. You can ask the person, what type of burial did you have? Did you have an earth burial, cremation, fire, water, air, or coffin burial? These days, you have a lot of different types of burial systems now in this world. For example, in Austria today, many people like now to bury their loved ones in a garden, so they call it, mountainous area where you have a lot of trees and so on and so forth. Some bury, spread the ashes in water. Some go in a mountain place and, spread the ashes everywhere. Some like to put the dead person in a coffin. So it is important from time to time, if somebody comes to the therapy, to start the discussion. You can ask what type of burial ceremony did you have? Was the person buried in this place or that place? It's very important because with that they can tell you, for example, in Switzerland, people have their ashes sometimes in houses, in rooms, where they put the ash and keep it in a place. So this is very important in this area. Please continue. In the achievement area also, it is, you can ask about flowers. Who gave you flowers? Did you buy flowers? And so on and so forth. Also the finance situation, the financial situation. It costs a lot of money in many places worldwide. To bury somebody, one has to spend a lot of money. Sometimes people borrow money in order to bury somebody. So you can talk about the financial situation. You can also talk about invitation cards. How did you do the invitation? Who did you invite? and so on and so forth. Did you forget somebody? Then you can talk about also the obituary announcements. Did you announce the death in newspapers, in many places? People also in social media. Did you talk announce the obituary, the death of the person? So many rich people in trying to show some signs of identity. They have a lot of cars. They have cars which they use in going to the burial ceremony, in the burial field. People, they have a lot of, they use cars. For example, somebody is a rich man or a rich woman dies, or they use sometimes horses, motorcycles, bicycles. If a soldier dies, they use military cars and so on and so forth. So sometimes it's a sign of showing the type of person that died. Then you have a lot of burial ceremonies, traditional ceremonies and religious ceremonies, and rest of it. Then preparation of the meals. Where do you have your meal? Where did you eat after the death of the person? The next place. In some countries, in some places, they build houses. In some poor areas, you have collection of wood, water, and other things. And the writing of the will. In my place in Austria, this is one of those things that cause a lot of problems. Writing of a will, who gets what. So I can say that in my therapy, this is a very, very big problem. Who gets what after the death of a father, of a mother, of a child, and so on and so forth. This is achievement area, but what I'm trying to say, this is the area of big tension. For you to start a good communication, you dwell on this achievement area, ask questions, and try to get a type of healthy communication. Now we come to the next area of contacts. This is various things that we know: burial traditions, religious traditions, family traditions, institution traditions, special burial rites, condolences. It depends on how you see it, about your attitude towards death, about your family connections or state connections or religious connections. You have these traditions, and each tradition has a meaning. For example, if you bury somebody in the Hindu tradition, it has a meaning for the Hindus, or the Buddhist tradition, or the Christian tradition, or the Jewish tradition, and so on and so forth, or the Baha'i tradition. Each religious tradition has a sense and a meaning why they use it. Okay, we come to the next one. This is something that is very, very, not very, you don't have answers. This is personal views of life after death. What comes after death? You have different cultures, different thinkings, ideologies. So we should be very careful not to, be absolute about what comes after death. You have religious views of what comes after death. If you have dealt with religions, some believe many things about what comes after death. I will not go through it, but there are some people who also have mystical views. They believe that if you die, This is something that's energy, spread energies and so on and so forth. You're connected. Some believe in resurrection, some believe in reincarnation, some believe in rebirth. These are, worldviews, and you cannot say this is right or wrong, but it's something that people believe. The next, also people believe in karma, paradise, energy, I've said before, separation of body and soul, also believe in incarnation. These are ideologies where you have to be very careful not to condemn, assess, but you have to accept the belief systems. But it's very important in therapy to understand the belief system of the patient. What do you believe? What is your belief system? And you accept it that way. So we now come to the next important stage. The next slide, please. We come now to what we talk about grief. I hope I'm not. It's something that I want to finish so that before we start discussions, I want to finish the topics I have before we start to discuss. Grief is always a reaction of a deep loss of something. The difference between grief and mourning is that mourning has to do with past, present, and future. But grief is a reaction of what happens to you now. You have grief. People can mourn of the past experiences. People can mourn of their future, coming of their future. But it's not grief. Grief is something that is very actual, very, very, up to date. The next one, please. So grief, as I said, is a loss of an object. It's a loss of loved ones. Also, it can also be a source of understanding. For example, if somebody in your life understands you well and pays attention to you, and if the person is no more, you have grief. The same thing happens to somebody who gives you a source of hope, a source of warmth, or deep sympathy, somebody who actually shares your agonies and encourages you. If the person is no more, you have a deep grief. Also, grief can occur when the power of strength, somebody who gives you strength in your life, is no more. One who gives me meaning in my life, orientation, if the person is no more, you have grief. But as I said, you have to understand that grief is something that is very actual. It's a reality. It's something that happens to you now, not past or future, but now. And for example, if you lose somebody who gives you orientation in life, you have grief. I'm trying to, cut it so that you just know that source of understanding, somebody who gives you understanding, understands you well, somebody who gives you hope, warmth, deep sympathy, somebody who is a power of strength in your life, or one who gives you meaning in your life, and so on, orientation. The next one, please. Yes, we come now to something that most of us perhaps we don't know that is very important, but it's very, very important that can cause grief. There are so many people, when they don't have the power of procreation, they can't give birth to a child. They don't have genetic transfer. When the doctors say you cannot bear a child and so on, it can cause grief. And some people also suffer when they know man or woman, you cannot, give a type of genetic transfer. It pains, and sometimes you have a lot of deep grief. Social identity is also a very important aspect of grief. For example, in your society, in your in your family system, or in a neighborhood, and people don't accept you, then you have grief. Social identity. You don't have social identity. You don't have a type of connectedness in a society. You have grief. Emotional support. If you lose somebody who gives you emotional support, who actually cares for you and moves you so that you may achieve something, if the person is no more, you have grief. Also, somebody who gives you practical support or financial support. These things are very important. Sometimes if somebody dies, who gives you financial support, you have grief. Let's continue. Yes, I tried to also to explain grief deeply. Grief can be experienced in two ways. Either one month of the past, or unfulfilled tax opportunities lost. So that means, for example, people who actually mourn about the past, what happened to them, or they can also mourn about opportunities lost in their lives. They have grief. Grief is always individual. That is something that is something personal and individual. That you cannot say that grief affects a society. No, it is something that's very, very individual, and each individual knows the extent of his or her grief. Time and end of bereavement of grief cannot be predicted. There's no time you can say grief stops today or tomorrow. It's something that you cannot predict when it stops or when it ends. So we are very, very careful. If somebody has grief, he has grief, but when it stops, we don't know. And grief is never an illness or sickness. Please, if somebody has grief, don't think that person is sick or has illness. Grief has only the potentiality of causing illness. That is the differentiation. Somebody who has grief, the potentiality of causing illness is given. The next one, please. So how do people react to grief? Grief reactions. How do you, these things, you notice it, you see it. You see these things. Some people, when they have grief, you have terrific or panicky fears. No, panic fears. Some people, when they have grief, they try to, they change, partners. Partners means they go from one person to another and they change people, without reasons. Some overdo some overwork or overactivity, all the time working and so on and so on, doing something all the time. Some have depressive, feelings. Some are paralyzed. Some have suicidal thoughts. Then you have addiction. People have addiction. Also, people who have grief, they have a new sense of life. They can see that life has meaning. Some who have grief, there's also new consciousness of bodily qualities, new self-confidence, travel initiatives. There's creativity, and they have new assessments. Okay, this is to this place. I have to stop because the next one is the therapy. May you have questions about so far so that I can discuss more about it? Because the next one is now the therapy. How do we do the therapy? Yes, the practical aspect of it. Yeah. So if you have questions, you can put it forward.
Yeah, please, Mandana. You can ask. You can unmute you. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for all explanations that you had about grief. The experience that I have, maybe it is real now in my life. As you taught and said that grief is something personal, but I see that sometimes it could be collective. I don't know if I am right or not. For example, in the situation that there is war, I'm originally Iranian, and we had a 12-day war in our country recently, and I feel that there is after it, there is a collective grief, and many people, they look at each other, but they have this grief and they don't know how to talk about it and how to help each other. I don't know if I am finding it correct or not.
Thank you very much. You are right. But I am very, very careful about trying to say that if something happens, everybody has a grief. We have seen in some families, for example, if a mother dies and this woman has about 5 children, maybe from these 5 children, one person has grief, the others don't have grief, although they have the same experience of the death of their mother. In a war situation, people are, suffering. People are suffering. People have a lot of, fears and homeless. They don't have a type of stability. In this system, they have the same type of, I would call it pattern of seeing the war and the difficulties. But I cannot say that all these people that see these things, that they have grief. Some people want to the end of the war, end of suffering, so that they may start living again. Because grief is something that affects you individually, and the extent of grief is something that affects you, so that you yourself will start trying to find the solution of how to come out from grief. Because I've experienced war in Nigeria, and I've seen that after the war, people start living, but some people have grief because they lost their child or their children, and you see it. they show it. They show it. So what you're saying is right. In a position where people have the same, painful experience, they feel the pains. Yeah. Okay. The next question, please.
Yes. Yes, Fikir, I can see you, but how I can give you a voice? I'll try to do it again.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's okay. Please ask.
Okay. Can I start?
Yes, we can hear you, but cannot see you.
Okay. Can I open the video? Okay.
Yes, please.
So, try to open the video. Okay. I think I opened. Okay. Thank you so much for inviting me. I may be emotional because of I lost both my mom and my dad within 14 days. And I'm trying to be strong as a therapist and to help others. But when I am alone, I'm tearful sometimes because of I lost my mom when I arrived to United States of America. And the process in America, you cannot go and bury. And because of this, I love my mom. I don't have any words. It was a very, very hard moment for me till now. It is 6 months, I changed my clothes. I start to work. But when I just meet you, all therapists, I cannot able to hide my feeling. I must express myself, And I have a great regret that I come to USA because of this. I just lost my mom. If I was not coming to United States of America, I may be on her side. I may taking care of her. And when she died also, I can accept it. I don't know. But when I come to US and when the first day I lost my stepfather, he was raising me since 2 years. He died while he was in the bed before, without being sick, like he has heart attack. And he suddenly, when they go and visit in the morning, he died. And then they are very frustrated. They never told me. They never called me because they were very much in a very hard situation. The whole family member, my younger sisters, my elder sisters, my brothers, they are very much in problem, and they never told me. And when they called me early morning in American time, after they buried him, they told me that they buried him. Oh my goodness! Morning call. With morning call, I received the call. Hi, how are you? Mommy, there is bad news. My son told me. Your stepfather, the one he raised me since 2 years with my mom, he died. He's almost my father. I was shouting. I cannot control myself, and I was not in a good situation. Like, the American system, you cannot cry everywhere, like in our country, like at home. And it was very hard time, and I wear a white dress, a black inside and a white shirt, like Natala. We say it Natala. And then I went to the train station because I must meet my friends. And then I go to my friend's home. Before I arrive, my families, they called me, and the very hard crying was in the bus, in the train station. Nobody's talking to me, even including the police. They passed away. Nobody is talking to me. I'm crying alone, and I am feeling loneliness, why in my country, if I was in my country, if I am crying, somebody will come. What happened to you? Is there any problem? They are asking me. Nobody talking to me. I left. And then I go to my friend. She hug me. She's taking care of me. And I'm crying. And then after 1 week, I try to adjust myself because when I continue crying, the other younger brothers, sisters, they are also in a hard time. I must be strong. I'm a therapist. I should not cry. I must stop. And then I stopped crying and then talk to my sisters, giving the talk therapy on calling, and then they start to be normalizing. But God gave him time, and then now he took him because he loves him, and then he's just suddenly died because God, he don't want to see our dad suffering. And then I am telling them, and then everybody is okay. Slowly, slowly, they are okay. Within the 14 days of the days of my stepfather, some months ago, she was critically ill. She has diabetes, heart problem, and her leg also because of the diabetes falling accident. I was taking care of her before I come for the last 3 years. I was taking care of her. But when when the visa is given, I spend 5 months with her because I'm afraid that she will die if I go. And then I was taking care of her, taking her with my car to church, taking care of her to the other social gathering. I'm just buying something, doing that stuff, cooking food, washing her legs, kissing her body, kissing her legs, just cutting her nails, and doing many stuff for 5 months and more than 3 years totally. But after my visa, for 5 months, I was there. But I have still regret because she became very critically ill. Oh my goodness. I lost my stepfather within 3 months of arrival to United States. And now she's critical. Oh my God, I must send my money. I send my money. I send my money. And then she was critical. She had operation in the hospital, very serious. And then after the operation, she survived and she go to the ICU. Please show me on the video, and please she has some dry lips. Please try to moisten, and please can you just take the clothes up? She's now feeling cold. I was saying like that. And on her days day, I was some agreement here for some business for myself. And then I was agreed with that agreement and I went. And I was too busy at that day.
Yeah, Fika,
And,
what is your question?
and she
Can you?
died at that day.
Yeah, what is
She
your
died.
question, please?
My question
Yes.
is still I'm crying. This is the
Okay.
question.
Okay.
And then for that trauma, you can understand me. This is my problem. Why I am crying still? Because then finally, when I finalize, what I did is I send money to buy an ox, a big ox, for the big ceremony. The people, they will start to eat together.
Yes.
They prayed for her
Okay.
and for him. And I
Okay.
finish all that. I become calmer. Still, I'm tearful.
Yes. I thank
This
you
is my
for.
problem.
Yes, I thank you
Yeah.
for your.
Can you please help me
Well, I
to
thank you
stop
for your.
crying?
For your.
Yeah, and to stop regretting.
Yes, I thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much
much.
for sharing
Thank
your
you.
emotional
Thank you. Thank you.
experience with us. Crying is something that is healthy. Crying is something that shows connectedness. Your care. So if you are crying, it's something that also help you, reconcile with the death of your beloved ones.
Okay.
But I will ask you if you can, if it is something that is not easy, but if you can, you can actually be grateful that you share their life with these people.
Okay.
If you are grateful, you have a type of stability, thankfulness. I shared my life with these people. I shared my activities with these people, and it will give you a type of strength if you can do it. But it's not easy. But if you can be thankful, if you can be grateful, it will help you actually to bear the loneliness and the burden of pains. It will help you so much. Okay, the next question, please.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Svetlana would like to ask now, please.
It's actually not a question, but I want to comment for what Fikir shared about her pain and loss and crying, and to continue the thought that John shared about crying as a positive thing happening with us after we lose somebody or something. I remember when I arrived to the United States. I am from Ukraine, and there is war now in my country. And I decided to find a safe place for my baby. We came together with my husband, and I knew I will go through grieving process after losing not just one person, but my whole nation, my country, my people, my all extended family is still there. But I was all the time busy with something, like I had to go do some papers, have some meetings, like, do something every day. And there was never time to just stay alone and do this, like have this grieving actually happen. And I remember small moments, like I came to the bank to make a credit, and they asked me while filling out my application form, they asked a question, what is the address that you lived for the last 10 years? And it hit me right there in the bank, like, because I started to remember all these past 10 or like even more years that I spent in my apartment that I loved so much in Kyiv, capital of Ukraine. And all the meetings that I shared there with my friends and family, all the trainings that I conducted there, everything that was happening. Then I got married, my husband moved in with me. It's like some small life there. And I couldn't verbalize my address. I was just sitting there and crying. And my husband was there with me, and I'm so happy that he could continue talking to the bank manager and giving our details and address. And I knew that it was a blessing that I can cry now, because with these tears, some of my sadness goes goes out. And I didn't want to stop it. I didn't want to feel ashamed in front of this bank manager. So I want to say, Fikir, maybe you can use um, some situations like that when the tears come out, just let them happen, because this is what helps. Something that is very, very deep, like John was sharing about deep grieving. It's not easy to take it out, but I think that tears really help. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, most people who live outside their country, myself, I've been living in Austria for a long time, and well, I know that people who live outside their country, what helps them sometimes to cope up with the situation is crying. Crying is something, if you can cry, just like laughing and so on and so forth, if one cries, you can console yourself through crying. It means that you are connected. You have connected. You have emotional connectedness, and I don't see it as a waste of time. Sometimes is after experiencing something that is very, very emotional, that touches you. If you have time to cry, it will give you a lot of sense of belonging. Belonging. Yeah. For example, this is what I normally just say a music I normally play. There's a story, Jesus Christ loved the family of Martha, Maria, and Lazarus. It's a story in the Bible. And when Jesus Christ heard that Lazarus died, what he did was he cried. He cried, So crying is something very spiritual. If you can cry, it's something that actually gives you a type of belongingness. So the next question, if you have one, please. So we go now to the therapy. I would like us
We
to...
have some questions in the chat. Can I?
Okay, please.
Yes, read it. One question from our colleague from Ukraine. She would like to know how to help a person with grief when a family member is missing in action during the war. It means during the war. And because it seems that it's lost in the capsule without any knowledge about this person, how we can deal with this kind of grief. You have the experience of this.
If somebody is missing in the war, and you cannot find his body, you don't know where he is, you cannot give answers now to any type of situation. One has to wait. One has to wait, and one has to be connectedness with the person. Sometimes I see it as in this time of waiting, it's a time, or it's also a possibility of getting connected with the person. Or if you have certain things that the person loves, try to read it and you are connected. So the connectedness helps you actually to wait and till the answer comes, the solution comes. Because you cannot do anything now. You are somehow tightened,
It's quite difficult.
Difficult, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
sometimes it's not good to be rational in these cases. To be rational, to ask questions and questions. It's not. If you have emotional connectedness, sharing with the person, maybe his stories he told you, or any type of thing you have about the person. If you can share it emotionally, it will help you actually to wait till you have the correct answer of where the person is.
To renovate a relationship like in an invisible way.
Yes.
Yeah. And
but emotionally, not rational.
Yeah, of course.
Emotionally, yeah. Rationally, you have a lot of questions and a lot of internal searching, which is difficult for you to get an answer.
Yes. It's really a huge part of our situation now in Ukraine, and maybe we need to go deeper in this case and maybe to predict some therapeutic accompanying procedures according to these cases.
May we go to the therapy so that you may get some insights, what you can do if you are grieving. May we see the slides once more? We go to the therapy. Maybe it will help you actually to know how actually to cope up with the situation.
Really. We can, we have also the quite similar question, but not about missing person. Our colleague from Bulgaria asking about, do you have some experience with grief and mourning of miscarried children? It's kind of prenatal loss, as there is no way to bury and go through the rituals, how we can deal with this issue.
When I was in Vienna, as bishop, I gave the government a type of information on how to do it. So all the Christian and interreligious groups, if one goes to the Vienna burial area, the names of all these people are written in the burial area, so that the mothers and brothers can go there and have a type of share. They share the pains of these dead people. That means there is a place in the burial center in Vienna Burial Center, Central Burial Ground, and the names of all those who had this experience are written. Also in the hospitals where they died, their names are written. So this is the way one can share the connections. In where some women who also complained about it, I told them, please write the names of these persons that died, also in the burial tomb. If you have a burial wall, write their names, so that they will not be forgotten.
Yeah. So thank you. So there are all questions which we have in this time. So you suggest to us to turn back to the therapy, yeah?
Yeah, just to see, just a nutshell I give you, because the time is going. I want to show what can you do as a therapist if you have somebody who has grief and mourning.
Should I share the screen right now?
Yeah, the screen, please. Yeah, because I don't have one.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Maybe this slide, yes?
No, the next one, the top. Let us see the top one. Yeah. The future one. Yeah. The next one. Where goal of therapy begins, where you have goal of therapy. The goal of therapy.
The next one, maybe.
No, the next, the former one, before this, the next one, the former one, yes. This, yes.
Okay.
Is that the goal of therapy? Yes. That's this, the next one, this next one, please. This one, yes. No, this is the last one. This is the 41, the last one. Let us go to the goal of therapy. Go for
goal of therapy. Yeah, right
goal
now.
Of therapy. Begin of goal of therapy, please. Goal of therapy. There are people who some therapists, they say that for you to solve the problem of grief and mourning, you can help the patient to have a total withdrawal from the lost object. This is not very easy. But sometimes it's not easy to have a type of disorientation or disconnectedness with the object, with lost object. If my son dies or my daughter dies or my parent dies, and I cannot say I don't want to have a connection. But some therapists say if you cannot actually live without this lost object, it's proper for you to make sure that you are disconnected with the lost object. I find it very difficult. I don't go that way, but some therapists suggest that way. Especially people, if you live the life of the death, the person who died, you live the life, and you don't live your own life, and you do everything to be connected with the person all the time, and you are not free. Some therapists say you have to do a therapy so that the person may not have connection with the lost object. There was a woman I knew in Austria. The husband died, and for 30 years, this woman was living alone, and in all the places you go to their house, you see the pictures of the husband. She never allowed people to come, and so on and so forth. It's not easy, So sometimes people are connected all the time, connected with the dead person, and they cannot separate themselves from the lost object. It's important, for example, for the goal of therapy may be new organization of all plans. This will help patients. You can, in the balance system, you can organize the bodily activities, achievement activities, social activities, and the belief systems. You can help them organize them so that the person may have, relationship to the person who died. At the same time, the person can live his life or her life. Reservation of a place for the disease is also a goal of therapy. Where do you want to have connectedness with the person? In the burial ground, or at home, or you can carry there are some people, for example, when somebody dies, the ashes are turned to rings. They carry the person in their ring. They have a ring where the dead person is carried in their hand, and so on and so forth. Remembrance ceremonies. There's a lot of remembrance ceremonies that you do to remember the person. To continue the life program of the person. I normally tell people, for example, if you love somebody so much and the person has done a lot of good things, you can continue the life program of the person. Biography, you can write the biography as you understood it, how the person is connected with you. You can play the music the person played as a goal of therapy. Foundations. There are people who have a lot of foundations to help continue the work of the dead person. A lot of important personalities, when they die, they have foundations so that this foundation will actually continue the philosophy of the death of the person. Some have some pilgrimage. Pilgrimage means you travel to a place with this person You can from time to time, go there and have connectedness with the person. For example, if you go from one city to another city with the person, or you made a lot of travels, you can still go back to that place and try to experience the person. Also, the books, you can write books about you can write things about connectedness with the person. That's not the goals of the therapy. Okay, let's see the next one. Okay, this is also a goal of therapy, obeying the will of the deceased. Some people write their will, what they would like to do, like the family to do when they die. If you can obey the will, and it also to help you to have a type of connectedness with the person. Upholding the name of the deceased is also a way of therapy, a goal of therapy. Preservation of certain properties. Then procreation, as I said, street names. There's a lot of ways, individuals, institutions, groups. There's a way they try to have, connectedness with the person who died, and these are the things that I try to put in this goal of therapy. Now, the last thing I have to say, can you give me the last slide? The last slide now. No.
This is the last.
No, that's not the last slide. This one, I think. This one about, this.
The last one of goal of therapy of
the therapy, yes, the therapy.
In therapy, yes.
Therapy, yes. This is
number 31 or 30 or 30.
What is number 40? What is 40?
40.
No, no, 39. Okay. Continue, please go. This is terrible.
Yeah, another one.
Yes. That is not what I want to. This is the goal of therapy according to Lama. This is important. It is TRAUER. First of all, understanding of death. Realization. It means that one has to have an attitude towards death. You have to understand what death means to you. What does this particular death means to you? You have to understand it. We have to know why it's a very precious loss. Understanding the death situation will help you actually in trying to have a type of acceptance, that to accept the situation. Then reactions should be given sufficient attention. Reactions. This is very, very important in initiation. Give the reactions. That is what the person actually tells you. For example, Fika told us about the pains and why is it crying and loneliness. These are very important to give one has to give a lot of sufficient attention to that and listen, and no comments, no judgments, no interpretations, just accept the reaction. The person may come and start hitting himself or herself, accept that, and then it will help after that, it will help the person actually to have a light of enlightenment. Recognition of the loss. This is very important. Also use the balance system to know what actually, where does the loss stay in the bodily. For example, if the person has been sleeping with you, if it's or the person has been, doing some sport with you, or the person has been having sexual contacts with you, you can recognition of the loss. Then in the areas of body, achievement, contacts, and you can try to understand it where the losses are. Then supporting the different transitions. There are stages of grief. You try to know the stages. Where does the person stay now? Where the stage of grief? Encourage remembrance and talking about the issue. This is what I said before. To remember the person, you have a lot of rituals, you have a lot of things you can do so that you have a type of direct remembrance about the person. And the last one is assessment of the risks and resources. This is something that you have to weigh up. Where you have risks, where you have resources, and then you have to do some evaluation. This is something that you can use in the therapy. But please try to accept the reactions should be given sufficient attention. This is not easy. Sometimes if you are not very, very, stable, you start crying also in the therapy. Some people cry because of the transfer and counter-transferences. For example, if somebody comes to you, you have lost your child, and the person is talking about his own loss of a child, and it can bring a lot of reactions. And it doesn't matter, even if you cry, it doesn't matter, but reactions should be given sufficient attention. Okay, do you have questions? Maybe we have to have questions because, as I said, if you want it, I will send to you also a slide where you assess yourself, your attitude towards death, bodily achievement area, and so on. How you assess your attitude towards death. I can send a slide to Katerina, and then she can give to you. Yes.
Yes, I will spread it. Thank you.
Please have your questions so that I will not.
Ashton, please ask.
Dear Joan Okoro, this is a wonderful presentation and wonderful insights that you're giving. I find it personally very helpful. As a therapist and trainer, I often talk about the grief process in sessions with trainees, but also when I work with patients. And I use a model about the grief process. You mentioned in your presentation just a few minutes ago that you asked us to think that when we're working with our client, patient, or guest, to be aware in which stage of the grief process the person is. I noticed in your slides that there was a slide about the grief process. Is it possible to go back to look at that slide and maybe just go through it quickly and understand briefly what it is about?
Please repeat which one of slide you would like to.
There was a slide about the grief process, but I think we overlooked it. We didn't go through it. We just skipped it.
Skip it. Okay, I will try to show you now all of these slides. Yeah.
There was a slide that was speaking about the stages of the grief process.
So it's about grief. Reaction. We take it. And the last. I think we have all of them.
this slide is more as
Maybe about this one. Ashton talked about this
No, I think it was something about the model of a
model.
very well-known model of grief process by Ross.
Can you see here? And the last one about the grief. The next one about goal of therapy.
No,
well,
it's okay.
just ask your question. What actually do you want to understand so that I may?
Yeah, it's like really if we think of the grief process from your experience, when you see that, okay, I see that my patient now is experiencing this emotion and this key emotion or this key feeling. How do you use it to decide in which stage of the grief process the person is and to talk about that stage or maybe help the person go through that stage?
Thank you for your question. As I said, grief is always something that is actual. It's something that actually you experience here and now. And once the person is talking about his or her experience now, you can try to understand, is that bodily, is that in the achievement area, is that the social area and so on, or is that in the belief systems and so on and so forth. Because if you have in the therapy something that a method you have in your head and you think you can use that method when the person comes, you make a lot of mistakes in grief. Grief means, what is the patient giving you now? What is the problem he has now? And from there you can determine the process of his grief or mourning. I give an example. For example, last week I had a mother who came to me because her son committed suicide. So in this stage, it is a stage you have to be very careful. It's a stage where the mother has a lot of pains and a lot of misery, and asking questions: where did I commit? Where did I make mistakes? And so on. Guilty consciences. So I will just try to know actually what the person is giving to me now, and try to understand the situation of the person now. If the woman comes to me after 2 weeks again, I will know where she is at this system. So it's not easy. One cannot say the process must go this way, but it is that what the person tells you now about the situation, you have to take seriously. And all the time, the balance system will tell you where the person is saying, where's the difficulty the person has, in what area. Are you getting me? Please, are you getting me? Did I try to answer your question?
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Some more questions here from our colleagues. Fikir, you would like to ask? Yes, please. Please unmute yourself. Now you can do it. We can, Fikir, we can't hear you.
Oh,
Now it's
sorry. Sorry for I was not unmuting. What thankful mean? What for when someone is dying? For example, if we become thankful, that will be good. And how? What does it mean?
Yes, I can explain it.
For example,
I can
what I
explain
should
it to
thank?
you exactly.
What what I should thank. This is very important for myself. And in general, I have another question. If our colleague shot and dead, we have one experience of this type of situation. While he was driving, he was shot and killed by the soldiers. And then everybody in my college was in mourning. And I cannot understand how I should approach the whole mass because they are all in mourning. Everybody is wearing the whole stuff, wearing a black clothes. They were tearful, and I was trying to survive from my family mourning time, my grief. And it was on the 14th days of my mom days. And I was trying to strengthen myself. Unfortunately, on the same day, my colleague shot and died. While he was driving, they shot him while he's driving. He's a hepatobiliary surgeon. His name is, from the internet, his name. And in that situation, I cannot understand how I should approach my colleagues because in Bahar Dar, as you know, there is no many therapists and there is much expected. And what I should do, only focusing on his wife and too close friends of him. I'm trying to give a therapy inbox, but I cannot understand how can in mass as a therapist participate and what was my responsibility. I cannot understand. It was expected a lot from me, but I cannot do in mass rather than sharing the mourning and the grief. And if my question, if our colleague is shot and killed, there was a very frustration in the staff. And how can what is our responsibility as a therapist? And do not forget the thankfulness, how I should thank. My mom is lost. She's a very important person for me. My dad is the same thing. And then I should start to thank that I am here in America or what? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fika.
Yeah, I'm open as you know me.
Don't misunderstand me.
You're a student, you know my behavior.
Don't misunderstand me.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Okay,
don't misunderstand me. The problem about thankfulness and gratitude means if you can, I said if you can, you lived with somebody many years.
They don't? What?
Something happened with connection.
Connection, okay, sorry. Okay. Okay.
Yes, therapeutic pose.
Okay.
We hope he will come back to us or reconnect.
Okay. Okay. You can tell me something until the thankfulness and our responsibility when someone shot in our colleague, for example. If I die, what is the responsibility of other therapists to
what I'm trying to say, I've not finished saying it went off. What I'm trying to say is that if we focus on the loss, we have a lot of pains, we have a lot of questions not to be answered. But if you question on your connectedness with this person, what you shared with this person, what everything that you lived with this person, the only thing that can help you to cope up with these pains is to say, oh, I'm very grateful that I shared my life with this person. It can be 1 day, 1 year, 2 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's something that you shared with the person. There is a lot of, intensive experience you have with this person. But if you only stay in the loss area and you think about what you lost, you may not come up with a type of reconciliation. About this person that that is short is terrible. It's a terrible news. It pains. That's what we call group therapy, family therapy. We call also town therapy. For example, we lost in Grass, a man went to the school and shot about 10 persons, one teacher and 9 children. Now the whole town, Grass, they have no group therapy. Psychologists are there. All those people who have questions and fears and pains, they can connect, they can touch, they can come to the psychologist, and they have they can say about the feelings they have. So sometimes it is also good in this type of experience to have a group therapy, family therapy, so that each person can actually say how he or she feels about the situation. As a therapist, what you have to do is to listen to them, allow them to talk about the situation, about their feelings, about their pains, and so on and so forth. Because I believe in talking, there's a type of help you can give to them. So that is what I can say about these two areas. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, don't mention.
Right, catch. Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, thank you. What about the maybe last question, or no, Gloria, are you ready to join to us? Yes, please ask your question. We can't hear you. The volume is not okay. We can't hear you. Unfortunately. Yeah, try to reconnect maybe.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, very good. Great.
Okay. I wanted to ask, you say that after a death, some people do not grieve. I lost my grandmother 10 years ago, and I find when she died, she had dementia, so she had been just unable to function normally for a long time. So I did not experience grief then, but in the last 2-3 years, I find myself grieving a lot for my grandmother. So I wonder if people who do not seem to grieve, perhaps it hasn't quite sunk in the grief that it might come after a long time. I don't know if it would be as long as for what I experienced it, but I've also seen some clients with complicated grief who have problems coming. They seem fine, but maybe after a few years, they are overwhelmed by that grief again, and it seems to sometimes it seems that whenever they are stressed, the grief comes in and it takes over the situation. Or is it just the grief is always somewhere in the back? Also, I wanted to ask about that. Um, is everyone grieving? People who have complicated grief, is it that stress induces these thoughts of the deceased, or is it that the grief is always kind of on the person's shoulder? You also spoke about unborn children that they die. What do we call them? Stillborn children, right?
Yeah.
You said that a memorial for them is it might be something that's appropriate. So generally in my culture, they believe in cutting the person away from, especially a child that was unborn. And recently, when my sister lost her child, after 2 years, she had this idea that she wants to take the ultrasound pictures from her stillborn baby and display them among her other children.
Mhm.
I discouraged her from it, but I wonder if how that would have affected her everyday life if he
Mhm.
had taken that step to include her stillborn child among the pictures of her other children.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you very much for your question. And the first thing about grief, as I said, if somebody dies or somebody you lose something, the grief may come after some days, some weeks, some months, some years. It will come up. And if it comes up, you have to actually talk about the situation, and you know where you have a type of pains and where you have a lot of loss. This you can use the balance system always to know where the person is talking about. What is the loss? As I said, grief is not a sickness. It can come up anytime, anywhere. You may have an experience and grief comes up, and so on and so forth. And so it is better if the grief comes up, talk about it. Don't swallow it, or or you try to um, put it, suppress it. It's not healthy if you suppress it. If it comes up, try to act accordingly. Human beings must be respected. If a human being is not born, but you know that after some months the person has a bodily system, and he or she dies, it's important actually to recognize this person that died. Sharing with the person that died is very important, and that will also help you to be open to other things that may happen. But if you suppress, for example, a woman suppresses the unborn baby, and this thing will be coming up from time to time, and it will take time before the person is free. But if I recognize my child that I did not born, I recognize the person that the person was actually my womb and died. It gives me a sense of connectedness, a sense of freedom. So, as I said in Austria, I said, please, we have to give all these women and men an opportunity so that we don't forget the death of their loved ones. It helps. It heals also. Recognizing them. Yeah. Okay. I hope I've answered your question.
Really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my friends, death is something that we experience every day. Death is something that occurs every time. Important thing is that we don't put it aside. It's something that we have to take with us. What I know that if you live a life of consciousness, if you live a life of connectedness, you are prepared also to die. So don't try. We don't try to separate life and death. It's one. It's one. It's a type of. It's a
Mm-hmm.
type of togetherness. You want to see it together.
Mm-hmm.
So I thank you for being with me these
Yes.
2 hours. I hope I gave you just a
Yes.
very little information about death, yeah,
Yeah, of course.
and grief.
Of
Yeah.
course. Thank you so much to you, actually, firstly, because you lead us through all of these topics. And of course, you give us example how to deal with this, not only in this structure, not on in rational part, in this kind of unrational part, emotional, touching things. You like a model how we can touch all of these topics and uh, how to make connections with some invisible things. So with your attitude and patience, a lot of patience, a lot of calmness and acceptance. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. I
Yeah,
wish all of you a good night, a
yeah.
good evening. Yeah, thank you.
Dear colleagues, thank you so much that you were here together with us and go through all of these topics. And I hope it was very useful for us, not only in professional level and of course for us firstly, like a human. Thank you so much and see you next
Thank
time.
you. May God bless. Bye bye. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you very much. Yeah. Thank you.
thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye.
Mm.